Premiership Rugby round number 7, couple big rivalry games this week, some wins for teams which sure needed it. Interesting round. I've seen 2 games, I've seen the highlights of all the others, looked up the stats and whatnot. So yeah, we'll go through the games and you guys can let me know your thoughts on the games, especially the ones you guys saw. But anyway, just thoughts generally. Most welcome. The first one, which I did see, Exeter and Gloucester. Exeter, man, that was a pretty narrow win, but they'll certainly take that. Gloucester, pretty disappointing. Like, just when they look like they're kind of getting there, they managed to drop one they probably otherwise should have won. It was interesting to see Exeter opting for 3s, which is seemingly pretty uncharacteristic for them, but they did it. And then it was Gloucester opting for the maul, but that doesn't actually seem too strange because from what I've seen of Gloucester this season, they do love a wee maul. And to be fair, when they did score that try through Singleton, it was maybe fortunate for Exeter, because if they hadn't got the try, Gloucester, then I think they probably would have been with a man in the bin, basically. Exeter, they would have been punished. So yeah, 13-6, I think it was, at half-time. Like, Exeter had been marched back 10 metres for some back chat. So yeah, Gloucester looking okay, but no points in the second half. No points in the second half. Gloucester's defence was very hard to break, but they did it. Through Hepburn and through Whitty. I think there was the backs who was cutting up some space to set up the forwards for that first one. But yeah, Gloucester did have a chance, did have their chances in the second half to score, but they couldn't take them. Reece Zammit knocked it on his own 22, which wasn't really a good look. Exeter's maul defence, I think it was on like 78 minutes, was just massive, and they held it out for a narrow win. So pretty low scoring one, but good away win for Exeter. They certainly needed that. They are 4-3 in 5th. Gloucester are now 3 wins, 3 losses, and a draw. So still kind of middling in it, but it's 6th, so not much between the two teams. Run meters finished 336 to 348, so pretty close. Tackling percentage 89% to 90%, pretty close, but Gloucester had to make a ton more tackles with 182 to 109. There's some guys fixing a roof, if you can hear the banging away. Reece Zammit, 86 run meters, 2 clean breaks, 2 defenders beaten. So he's going to be a guy you miss when he goes off on international duty. Yandel, 4 defenders beaten for him. So yeah, good to see. Really good to see. That roofing is going to drive me nuts. But turnovers conceded 14 to 17, pretty high. Gloucester are on the bye next, and then Exeter are home to Newcastle, who are coming off the bye. So it should be an interesting one next week. Bath and Wasps. I didn't see this one in full. I saw the highlights, but man, it's another loss for Bath. And it's one where I think, from what I could gather, they were actually looking all right. They were actually looking pretty decent, but man, a red card was pretty costly for them, along with a yellow. So yeah, good crowd, good weather, good to see the fans still getting out to support a team which hasn't had any wins. But also good to see Vaya Fafita having a good run. I don't know what was wrong with him in New Zealand, or if there was issues. Maybe he'd already signed his contract and the coaches didn't want to play him. But he seems to be totally revitalised since he's gone to Wasps, because he just wasn't getting any minutes over here in NZ when he was with the Canes. But yeah, he got a try. They also got one through Ogre and Willis, but that was in the second half. First half for Bath, it's to Glanville, and they get a kind of consolation one through Rocket to Goonie at the end. But yeah, man, de Glanville's got some proper wheels, which I never knew he had. He is quick when he got his try. It was 10 points apiece after half an hour, and 13-10 to Wasps at half time. Tumunga Allen got a yellow card for a maul defence infringement, but then Bath, man, they had Mike Williams just flew into a ruck and cleaned out Jimmy Gopeth and knocked him cold pretty much, so he gets red carded for that one, and that was maybe where things started to go to custard, because Ogre's try was about a minute after that one, and eventually later it was 13 against 15 when Bath had a yellow. So yeah, 27 points to 10. Was going to be a tough ask to come back from with a man down. They did get the try, like I mentioned, a bit of a wonder try through Rokitaguni, so a nice send-off for the crowd, but ultimately nothing doing in terms of points. No 4-try bonus point, no losing bonus point, just a whole lot of nothing for Bath, apart from a couple of nice tries. Run meters 488 to 330, so Bath had the better of that. Turnovers conceded 18 to 10 by Wasps. Bath's line-out wasn't the best, to be fair, but their penalties conceded wasn't great. But yeah, they seem to have some pretty positive showings in this game. But man, the card, I don't know if it was the difference, but it seems like it from the stats and the highlights anyway. De Glanville, 144 run meters, 2 clean breaks, 4 defenders beaten. That's massive. Shields and Willis both 19 tackles apiece, so some good defensive stuff from Wasps. But yeah, good away win over the bottom place team, albeit, but a win is a win. They're all worth the same amount. 3 and 3. Wasps are in 7th. Bath are none from 6th in 13th spot. They're away to Leicester Tigers, who haven't dropped a game yet this season, and Wasps are home to Harlequins, who will be looking to bounce back after their disappointing result. The other games, what did I watch? London Irish, Bristol, I saw the highlights. This is I don't think I've ever seen 3 yellow cards for one team at one time. I'm pretty sure I've never seen that. Maybe? I don't remember it. 3 yellow cards simultaneous virtually. Goodness me, what was going on this one? Nice weather again. Bristol came out of the blocks firing. A forward stride with Heenan, then a couple through Fricker and Bates. So really out of the blocks, as I said, firing totally for Bristol. 19 points to 0. Stokes got one not long after, the big kind of one-on-one. Burst through his defender pretty nicely, so he'll be pretty chuffed to power through with that one. He probably should have done better, the defender, but oh, he goes through his man. And then Bristol get the first yellow card, up game on. Second yellow card with Pietau, and then third yellow card with Urin. So there's 3 guys off at the same time. It is absolute bonkers. London Irish do manage to score a couple of tries during that period to make it 19 points apiece. So it's all square after a pretty terrible start. But London Irish joined the yellow card themselves, the yellow card club, and Bristol were able to retake the lead. They kept the scoreboard ticking over. They did get tries through O'Connor and Thacker, so 5 tries for them. London Irish got their ones through Stokes, Willemse, Rogerson, Hepatema, and Rose, so they got a bonus point and then 1. So yeah, certainly heaps of tries in this game, but the difference was the boot with Callum Sheedy able to seemingly, like I said, keep the scoreboard ticking over. So yeah, at least it's a bonus point for London Irish and a much needed win for Bristol. It's not been the greatest season for them, but yeah, a big, emphatic heap of tries win. They'll still be concerned that they conceded 5 and 3 yellow cards at the same time, but yeah, there you go. Run meters 425 to 545, so pretty high in this game. Defenders beaten 20 to 14 to London Irish, but clean break 7-6 to Bristol. Parton, the fullback, had 66 run meters, 3 defenders beaten, always seems pretty sharp. Harding, the number 8 for Bristol, had 24 out of 26 tackles, which is huge. Andy Urin had 85 run meters, 2 clean breaks, and 4 defenders beaten, which for a halfback is a pretty good shift. Bristol are now 2 and 4. They're still 12th, so not great stuff, but that's a step in the right direction. London Irish are a win, 4 losses, and 2 draws for 8. So it's been a bit of a mixed bag. They are away to Saracens, which doesn't get any easier. Bristol are home to Worcester, who prior to this week may have seemed like an easier prospect, but they may be a bit revitalised after their win. But before we get to that one, it was Northampton and Leicester. Goodness gracious me. I watched this one. What a bonkers game this was. I mean, it's the story of George Ford, this one, isn't it? I've never been George Ford's biggest fan. I mean, I like George Ford. He's a really cool player, but he's the ultimate, just like smart, controls the game, fly half. I don't want to say boring, but you know, he's not like Bowden Barrett where he usually gets kind of individual line breaks, but he's just so good at what he does. It's hard. Like I don't dislike him, but he's just never been my like kind of favorite player, right? But it's hard to not think he is just freaking amazing when you watched him in this game. Honest to goodness, like next level brilliance. He should be in England squad, shouldn't he? Like Marcus Smith is the kind of sexy pick, right? But George Ford, honestly, he kicks what I think Austin Healy called a 90-22 from his own 22. He kicks a 50-22. That was bonkers stuff. He kicks like a 40-meter drop goal. He just does everything. I think he finishes like 20 points. He just runs the show, man. Handbags early in this one. I guess it's you guys tell me it's a bit of a fierce rivalry, this one, so maybe that makes a bit of sense. Nandolo got on the board, some good power. He got 2, actually. First one, bit of power. Second one, bit of long-range stuff. He tripped himself up at the end, but still managed to stretch out and score that one. So, yeah, Leicester were just relentless early. Like, Northampton had a missed penalty. It was their only chance of the first, 20 minutes? Yeah, massive start. I think they did get 1 try through Skosan before half-time. So, I mean, they had Nandolo, 2, Van Fake, and Montoya for Leicester. It was like 27-5 at half-time. Like, goodness me, that's painful. Northampton do get a try, and Leicester gets 2 yellow cards, Wigglesworth and Visa. So it's another one where it's, you know, not quite as bad as the previous game, but still like a big numerical advantage. But that's when Ford kicks his 40-meter drop goal. What a time to pop that out of the bag. Bonkers stuff. Skosan did get a second try to get them the bonus point at the death. For Northampton, they also had 1 through Mitchell and Waller. But Leicester just kept going, man. There was a kick at the end, and it ended up in a Leicester try. Van Portfleet got 2, and WORvSAL got 1. Like, that's a 55-26, man. That's a hiding. Away from home, despite getting 2 yellow cards. Crazy. Yeah, that last Leicester, I think it was Matavesi that put in a kick. It was just weird. It ends up in a Leicester try. Salt in the wound, that stuff. But, yeah, run meters 454 to 329. That's in Northampton's favour. But, yeah, 36 kicks to 19. Leicester are just able to control the game, man. 87% tackle percentage for Leicester. 81 for Northampton, which is pretty low. 142 tackles. They're quite comfortable to sit on defence, man, and absorb that pressure. 79 for Northampton. Penalties conceded 15 to 14, so pretty tight, but that's a high penalty count when it's getting almost 30. Turnovers conceded Northampton 16 to Leicester's 5, so Leicester just a wee bit more clinical. I would say Ford, as I mentioned, finishes with 20 points. Jasper Wiese, despite his yellow card, 7 defenders beaten. Skosan gets 6 defenders beaten, 94 run meters. So he's looked good for Northampton, but man, yeah, tough day at the office for those guys. What am I at? Leicester are 7-0, which is a hell of a start to the season in first, and Northampton are 4-2, so they're still fourth. Is a decent record, but a couple of recent losses, a little bit concerning. They're away to Sale, whereas Leicester are home to winless Bath. Worcester and Sale, I saw the highlights of this one. Worcester, man, much needed win, 2-5 now for them. Finally that second win, and Duan van der Merwe finally gets over the whitewash. He looked pretty pumped, didn't he? It's a quick fire double for them. Shilcock and van der Merwe got the first 2 on 7 and 9 minutes. Shilcock, I think, set up the first one. So, well, he got the first one, set up the second one. So, yeah, really flying start for them. But, yeah, the Sale guys managed to get one on 20 minutes. So, it's kind of, compared to some of these other crazy games, it's kind of a low-scoring halftime score of 17-7. But, yeah, Shilcock gave a big old, what I would call a don't argue, put one of the Sale guys on his backside with a big fend, which was pleasing, and set up a Duan van der Merwe kind of classic. He's, you know, flying down the wing, bumping defenders off. So, yeah, 22-7 seemed to be comfortable, but then, yeah, Sharks got one back in reply to make it 22-14, which is just slightly uncomfortable, but of course it was Shilcock who got the final try, which is a bonus point try, and takes it beyond probably a Sale comeback at that point late on in the game. So Sale did get a chance to score a consolation one at the death, but they ended up knocking it on when Worcester had a man in the bin. So, yeah, kind of much needed win for Worcester. It's kind of hard to describe how this game went because the highlights made it seem like all of Worcester's tries were kind of beautiful. You know, really open and flowing tries, but the run meter is 262 to 198. Worcester had more, but it speaks to a bit of an arm wrestle game rather than a free-flowing one. Clean breaks 5-3. Possession though, like Sale had more territory. Goodness me, those guys, but not able to get over the line. Ben Curry 10 from 10 tackles, so a solid shift from him. Shilcock 4 clean breaks, 8 defenders beaten. Duan van der Merwe 76 run meters. 2 defenders beaten for him, so happy days. Worcester, as I mentioned, 2 and 5. They're still 11th, so it's not a great record, but you could see what the win meant to the guys. Sale have been pretty disappointing. They're in 10th, 2 wins, 4 losses, and a draw. So they're only 1 draw better than Worcester's record at the moment. The last one, Quins and Saracens. Man, that one was a bit of a brutal one for the home ground attack. They were in the lead for so long, Harlequins. Saracens managed to pinch it in the last 5 minutes. I mean, fast start. You know when Esterhazen's bumping off Billy Vunipola like he's a powerful individual. Tries through Tizard, Murley, and Green. Like flying start to that first half. 19-0 at half time. Not 19-0, 19-9. But it's tries against penalties, isn't it? So 3 tries against 3 penalties. But still, 10 points is far from dead and buried for Saracens. And then nothing much doing for Harlequins in the second half. You can score 3 tries in one, but none in the other. Saracens did manage to crack the try line with the extra man through Morris early on in the second, and then it stayed that way, seeming until about the last 10 minutes when Saracens finally took the lead. Ray gets over the line. Lewington has a good run in the build-up. So 29 points to 22. Not a lot doing for Harlequins in the second half, like I mentioned, but the 2 tries for Saris. So all the tries down one end of the field. So you would hope if you're a paying fan that you were sitting down that end because that's where all the action was. But yeah, run meters 448 to 352. So Harlequins edged that. But if you're looking at meters per carry, Saracens have got the advantage. Harlequins more possession, more territory. Saracens more offloads, which I didn't associate with their game. But there you go, 15 to 5. Surprising. Lewington, 45 run meters, a clean break, and 4 defenders beaten. Pretty good shift. Mako, Vunipola, 17 out of 18 tackles. Good work rate. Tyrone Green continues to impress, though. 124 run meters, 7 defenders beaten. Yeah. Lamb had 10 from 11 tackles, so that's pretty solid. But yeah, it's still a loss. Although they get a bonus point, it's still a loss at home to your rival. So not ideal. 4 and 2. Harlequins are 3rd. They're away to Wasps next. Saracens 5 and 1. They are 2nd, home to London Irish. So yeah, like I mentioned, kind of an interesting round. Some crazy games with yellow cards and 40-meter drop goals and huge 50-22s, red card. But yeah, heap of tries and overall pretty interesting stuff. Obviously, some of the teams I should have mentioned at the start, without their England players, and next week they'll be without any of their players who are playing during the November window, so we'll see how things go. I'm not sure how many games I'll be able to see next week, given there's so much international rugby on, but we will see how things go. You guys let me know your thoughts. Do like the video if you got this far through it, and I will talk to you guys again soon. See you later.